Hello friends, now I'll be reading the Hindu editorial of 17th March 2023 at 80 words per minute in 5 seconds. Begin. India's goods exports fell for the third time in 5 months during February. The 33.8 billion of shipments marked an 8.8% drop from a year ago. In recent times of generally exuberant export growth, the only steeper decline was recorded in October 2022, a sharp 29.9% collapse in oil exports, a 12% fall in chemical shipments, and a 10% contraction in engineering goods outflows, accounting for almost half of India's merchandise exports, propelled February's decline. But the effects of faltering global demand went beyond dragging down 13 more of India's top 30 export items. February's exports are still 7.3% above October's number, but the immediate outlook is reverting to the gloom that prevailed in the last quarter of 2022 about large parts of the world slipping into recession. Resilient economic data from major markets over the past couple of months had infused a belief that the world economy may just end up avoiding the worst that was feared in 2023. But the ides of March dispelled those hopes, for now at least. Retail sales in the US, India's largest export destination, soared 3% in January as a positive surprise but slumped in February. The failures at two US banks and the disclosure of vulnerabilities by European banker Credit Suisse amid the US Federal Reserve's scramble to rein in inflation suggest this momentum may not turn around anytime soon. On Wednesday, Brent crude prices dropped almost 5%. Recession risks have clearly resurfaced after the unexpectedly benign start to the year, with manufacturing already shrinking for 2 quarters. A sustained spell of slipping shipments could mean factory job losses and dent consumption. As it is, the 8.2% drop in February's imports, the sharpest in a 3-month contradictory streak, and the lowest import bill in almost a year, does not reflect well on domestic demand that is hoped to insulate the economy from global shocks. Some of this may be due to prices rather than volume factors. The government is looking to curb inessential imports to keep the deficit in check amid weaker exports. But this is tricky territory where factors such as quality, pricing, and supply chain linkages matter too, and missteps could curb consumer choices. With the deficit already constricted sharply over January and February from the record $29.2 billion level hit last September, policy bandwidth may be better used to support exporters to tap new markets and react more nimble to fast shifting dynamics in key markets. The long deterred rejig of the foreign trade policy must not be delayed any further at any cost. The high altitude maneuvering between two Russian fighter jets and an American drone over the Black Sea, which resulted in the splashing down of the US MQ-9 Reaper drone on Tuesday morning, has underscored the dangerous risks of the Ukraine war. In conflicting narratives about the incident, the Pentagon says the Russian Su-27s intercepted the surveillance drone in international airspace, dumping fuel on the drone, colliding with it and forcing it down. But the Russian Defense Ministry said its jets were scrambled after an US drone violated its temporary airspace of the Crimean Peninsula, and that the American aerial vehicle lost altitude in sharp maneuvering. The MQ-9 recorded the incident. The video has been declassified and would help establish the truth. But whatever the reason, the fact that US lost a drone in the Black Sea, where it does not even have a naval presence, is a grave reminder of how close the nuclear powers have come to a conflict. While both sides have responded with maturity, the underlying situation that triggered this crisis remains unchanged. The US has provided over $30 billion in military assistance, including advanced defensive and offensive weapons, to Ukraine since the Russian invasion began, and imposed tough sanctions on Moscow. Washington says it is not directly involved in the war but is helping Ukraine defend its territories, while Russia alleges that the collective West is seeking to destroy it. As the war drags on, with Russia's failure to take a quick victory, the relationship between Washington and Moscow has broken down. Last month, Russia suspended its participation in the New START nuclear arms control treaty, the last of the Cold War era weapons control mechanisms between the two countries, steadily deepening mutual distrust amid an ongoing conflict is a perfect recipe for disaster in great power rivalries. Even if the Biden administration has clearly ruled out a direct conflict with Russia, irresponsible and high risk maneuvering or even accidents could lead to, as the Pentagon said, miscalculation and unintended escalation. Stop. Join the Telegram group in the comment section for the